I'm Mike Wolf.
And I'm Frank Fretz.
And we're pickers.
Pick up! Duty the game transfer! Rush tricks! Not get your hand! Oh yeah!
Hello again, folks, and welcome back to another episode. And we are heading back to Great Yarmouth. That's right, Great Yarmouth, because we are heading to one of the craziest places I've ever seen. I know I seem to say this all the time, but every time I seem to go back to Great Yarmouth, I seem to find somewhere even crazier than the time before. And you will not believe this place. It is literally like something out of an episode of American Pickers. I'm having to climb over stuff, move stuff. Nothing is labelled. It is absolute chaos, and I love it. Before we head off picking, I just want to remind you folks watching to hit that like button and subscribe. So I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content. And if you hit that bell, you'll get reminded every time there's a new video. Now, let's get picking. Here we go then, and what better way to start the day than straight into your local CX store. And now you know me, I am straight to that glass cabinet looking what retro goodness they have, and they had a pretty good supply of stuff. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I didn't really know what to expect from this store, but yeah, there was some really cool stuff. And you can see here, I'm scanning everything. I don't want to miss a thing Aerosmith style. I'm going to look through all of these games to find the hidden retro gold in this local CX. As I said earlier, there was some really good retro stuff in here. Some of the things that stood out to me were Castlevania and of course Jurassic Park, as I need that game for the 20 and 2010-2 collection. But the main thing was the Pokemon games in here. Like the Pokemon Game Boy Advance games in here were absolutely incredible. Pricey, yes, but very cool to see. And there was also loads of like loose N64 games. Pretty much had all the big heavy hitters here. And yeah, there's obviously, as it being CX, there was some decent prices. Now here is something you don't see every day, complete and boxed Game Gear games. I was pretty tempted to pick this up, even though I don't have a Game Gear at the minute. And there was also some really, really nice PlayStation 1 titles, and these were in some really good condition. One thing that really stood out for me was this copy of Rebel Assault for the Mega CD. Very nice game. This was a surprise, but not really a good one. Look at the condition of these two games. Like that Advance Wars and Zelda have definitely seen better days. Like, I would not be very impressed if I'd ordered these online and these cartridges had turned up. It's something you don't see very often in CX, but, you know, disappointing to see. This problem seemed to also be the case with some of the Mega Drive and Master System games. So look at the kind of, it's hard to see here, but the state of this Populous game was pretty shocking. And this was also true of that Jurassic Park for the Master System, which was gutting as I really wanted it for the 2022 collection. After getting my fill of retro, I decided to have a quick look through the Xbox 360 games and was surprised at how much Guitar Hero Greatest Hits is nowadays. This is definitely one I'm going to be keeping an eye out at the car boots and the charity shops. The next place I always have a look at is at the GameCube section. They once again had a really, really good selection of GameCube games. Basically all the heavy hitters. They were pretty pricey though. I still say the price of GameCube games is getting higher. So, you know, now is the time maybe to grab them, or maybe we can have a crash. But, you know, it's always cool to look through some of the cheaper titles. You know, the kind of ones that between the £5 and £10 mark. I was quite tempted to pick that one up, but yeah, I did leave it behind. I'm still genuinely surprised at how cheap Dreamcast controllers are in 2022, under a tenner each for decent controllers. And it's a shame that can't be said for GameCube controllers, which I think are just expensive due to the popularity of Smash Bros. But it was nice to see some pretty cheap and pretty decent titles for the Game Gear. We're going to leave CX on a bit of a mystery. Can somebody please explain to me why this specific Starlink ship in 2022 is selling in CX for 20 quid? It's a mystery. Here we go then, first charity shop of the day and first FIFAs of the day. Hidden all the way at the bottom of the classic charity shop thing, that is the wall of DVDs. But everything was at least £3 or less, so that was pretty good. And hiding at the other end of the shelf right at the top was probably the PlayStation 1 game I see the most often, V-Rally. It was only a couple of quid, but you know, I just see this one so often. With these charity shops, one of the things you kind of start to realise is I don't think they can even give away some of these DVDs. So we have DVDs 4 for 99p. The only thing I managed to find at the start was this PES 2015 game for the Xbox One. And, you know, I don't know if this was included in the DVDs, but, you know, I don't even think I'd pay 25p for a 7-year-old football game for the Xbox One. But I did manage to find one thing, which it may surprise you I haven't seen, and that is The Fall of Reach, the Halo animated film, I think it is. So let me know in the comments down below if this is good. I'm a big fan of Halo, so yeah, I was definitely going to pick this up. I think I paid £1 for it, and not the £99, which was actually on the tag. Again, 99p, not £99. Carrying on, going through all the shelves of DVDs and games, and this is a sports game I don't think I've actually seen before. Some of these can be quite expensive if they're the rare ones. Sadly, that one was not, so I put it back. And also I saw this Predator UMD. I'm on the fence about collecting these, so I did put it back. Another store and another football game I didn't recognise, did check it out. Not really worth a lot. The classic that is Far Cry 3 with one of the greatest bad guys of all time. I did also look up this massive DVD box set for Prison Break. Sadly, CX price wasn't too great. But one thing I did finally see in this store was this Xbox World. I'd say it's a demo disc, but it's more of a DVD of games coming up. And, you know, I'm a massive fan of the original Xbox. And, you know, those demos are such a zeitgeist. I used to buy them every month, so definitely pick this up for £1. I don't know why, but it just kind of made me laugh. Just how happy this dog is on the box of this dog cooling device. Just a very happy dog. And again, I'm greeted by a wall of DVDs and games. But this time, some pretty decent titles. And these were all pretty good prices. I did check Guitar Hero. This one is not one that trades in for a great deal at CX, which is a shame. It's a really good game, though. But I do have it in the collection nonetheless, so I left that one behind. Always look at the Call of Duties. There is certain Call of Duty games that trade in for a decent price, one of which being Call of Duty Black Ops 2. So picking this up for £1, this has a decent CX trade-in, and yeah, nice pickup. This store probably had the best selection of video games this day, except for CX. Like, we had the classic games like Borderlands, couple of original Xbox games, nothing too exciting there, a couple of FIFAs and general football games. They did have a wrestling game, Legends of Wrestling 2, which I was tempted to pick up, but the disc was pretty scratched. In the next shop, we had what my friend Mark described as a super rare alternative cover for Brain Training, which is obviously just a replacement case at £2. And I think this is what people mean when they say they go to charity shops and find nothing. Literally, in this store, there was a copy of Brain Training and a copy of Disney Infinity for the Wii. Slim pickings. I did have a quick look through this massive box of DVDs, and one that did grab my attention was this old wrestling DVD. I have no idea what promotion this was for. I've never heard of it before, but it definitely had some kind of decent names in the wrestling circuit. Yeah, this had some pretty interesting matches. You can see there's some cool names there, and yeah, I was tempted to pick this up, but didn't in the end. As you all know by now, I'm a massive fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but seriously, what is this? This is like an affront to God. This is one of the worst things I think I've ever seen. I would not... If somebody gave this to me, I would slap them in the face. There's no way I was paying for this. Leave me a comment down below if you'll be happy to never hear the phrase social distance ever again. It's always quite interesting to see some of these old PC flight sticks. I have a couple of these for the original Xbox, and I do always check to see if it is one for the Xbox or a different old console. This one was a PC one, so I did leave it behind, so it take up a lot of space. And this store also had the worst t-shirt of the day. I thought the COVID t-shirts were bad, but this Dolphin one is another level. And it also manages to have the worst selection of games of the day. Seriously, every game I pulled up was just worse than one before, until we settled on the most common game I ever see picking up games, Connect Adventures. I'm always quite tempted to pick up Pokemon DVDs when I see them out in the wild at charity shops or car booths, but let me know in the comments below, is there a big box set so I can buy them all at once, because that'd be a lot easier than picking them up in single disc format. I actually saw this hat from outside of the store, and I instantly knew, I was like, oh, I really like that. I like snapbacks, I like Nintendo, I like Mario, but $7.99 for a cap is not the best deal ever. But here is a deal totally un-game related, a Fred Perry polo shirt for just £5. And this thing was basically new. If you know Fred Perry clothing, that's a bargain. I have been to this store before in Great Yarmouth, and it does always seem a little bit expensive, but I think what it is I think the person who probably prices the games in here knows what they're doing. I think they must go on eBay or CX or something and just check the prices, because basically any game I pulled out was about the right price, like the right market price, or more expensive. Rock Band 2, overpriced. Everything I pull out was just like that little bit too expensive, or exactly what you pay for it in CX, which is really disappointing. They may have had a really good knowledge of video games, but it seems like their DVD knowledge was lacking a little bit, as in the kids section was South Park the movie. Definitely not one for the kids. This next store was literally the definition of what I expect to see in charity shops. Connect Adventure? Check. Wii Fit, check, for £2 as well. £2 for Wii Fit, absolutely insanity. And of course, Wii Play. The only way this could have been any more perfect is if there was a brain training, but there was actually this quite interesting Guitar Hero game for the Nintendo DS. I did check, I do have this, but called C. Last time I came to Great Yarmouth, I thought I found the craziest shop of all time, but oh my, was I wrong. This place was in a whole different league. This was literally floor to ceiling, rooms and rooms of stuff. Like, I have never seen so much stuff in between four walls. This was literal crazy. I have no idea how the guy picked all his stuff up. It's literally like, look in the background, it's like flashing Stranger Things style lights. I have literally no idea where to start in here, but you know me, I'm still going to find games. I can find a needle in a haystack when it comes to games. I will find something game. If this place was just another level, like just the damage and craziness, just everywhere you look, there was something weirder. It is literally one of the strangest places I've ever been through looking for games and retro stuff, and I still managed to find some cool stuff, such as this WWF single from like the 80s, and just look at the artwork on this. Just absolutely incredible. My friend Mark did actually pick this up. She's a massive fan of like retro wrestling stuff, and it was only like £1 or £2. We did of course have to pay it in cash because it may come as a surprise, this place did not have a card machine. I was shocked as well. It was cash only, but yeah, it was literally like American Pickers up in here. I had to climb over stuff to get to other stuff. Like I saw there's a DJ Hero game down here. I had to climb. I had to take my life in my own hands to try and find games. That is how much I will go out of my comfort zone looking for cool stuff. You know, you can see there's vintage board games. This place literally had everything, but I think the building was being held up by the stuff. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. From one crazy place to another, this is one of the biggest charity shops I've ever seen. It was literally on an industrial estate, and it was a charity shop at an industrial level. Look at the size of this place. Comment below, have you been to a bigger charity shop than this? I've been to some large charity shops, but I think for my money, this is the biggest. To be fair, they did have a pretty decent selection of games, but I guess having a charity shop in this larger unit comes at a price. Most of these games were fairly expensive. We're talking £2 to £3. I know that sounds tight, but most of these games are like 50p to £1 games in CX. So it was coming to the end of the day, and I hadn't had a lot of luck, but my luck was changing as I had just got word of an incredible Facebook Marketplace deal that was going to save this entire day. This person kept putting more and more things up for sale, and I kept reserving more and more of them, and I was off to pick up some amazing bits. What a day! And the thing is with Game Hunter, you never know what you're going to find. You have good days, you have bad days, but you know, it's all part of the experience. So I only actually picked up two things today. So first of all, this Fall of Reach Halo movie, which, you know, I haven't seen before. So to pick this up for 99p, and of course, not the £99 that was on the label, was pretty good. And I also picked up this Xbox World DVD, which is also a demo. Like, I more kind of prefer these ones when they are actually demos of games you can play, but you know, I'm just a big fan of the original Xbox, so picking both these bits up for $1.99 is a pretty good start. But the thing that really saved this day of game picking was this Facebook Marketplace deal I got on the way home. It is incredible, and it really saved the day. These are the first two items I picked up then of 4 items. So I got all 4 of these items for just £25. And the first one you can see here is this little kind of Mortal Kombat figure selection. So we've got Sub-Zero there, and it does come with a selection of weapons and different hands you can change there. And we've got Shao Kahn on his kind of throne then, and it's just a really cool display piece. These figures are like super detailed. They are really cool. It does need a bit of a dust. I did manage to find this figure online. Essentially, these kind of obelisks at the side with a chain, so you can chain the figures up before they go into their fight. But yeah, as a display piece, it is really cool. It's not very often I see Mortal Kombat stuff, so I definitely had to add this into the collection. Next up, we have this Iron Man money box. And if you watched my video a little while ago, and I went to the car boot that started at 11 AM, you'll see that I picked up 2 more of these money boxes. It's always cool to get another one of these. I think they make really nice display pieces. And yeah, big fan of Marvel, so really happy to add this. And finally, sticking on the topic of money boxes, we have this Sonic the Hedgehog money box. I kind of think this is more of a kind of statue as such. I'm never going to actually use it for money, but yeah, it isn't old, it is made by Paladone, but it's really, really cool. And remember, I did get all of these 4 items for just 25 quid. On a day when I had a lot of luck game hunting, I was very happy to come away with these 4 awesome pieces. There we have it then, folks. It just goes to show you just can't give up. You know, if nothing else, this day was an incredible experience. Just going through somewhere where you literally had to pick through things. You just don't see that very often. And, you know, I didn't give up hope all day. And at the end of the day, I got this amazing Facebook Marketplace pickup to really round a day off of game hunting. Remember, if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. And as always, keep playing the game. See y'all soon.